Hello again, and welcome to the basement. It's good to see you. As a child, one of the most influential stories I ever heard, and which has stuck with me, is that of Sundar Singh. He was converted to Christianity in his teenage years in his native India. His ministry was mainly in the early years of the 20th century, and he died in the foothills of the Himalayas in 1929 while journeying to Tibet. He wore the robes and turban of a teacher and travelled mainly on foot. His sense of call to the people around him was great, and his whole desire was to follow Jesus. He wrote, "I am not worthy to follow in the steps of my Lord, but, like him, I want no home, no possessions. Like him, I will belong to the road, sharing the suffering of my people, eating with those who will give me shelter, and telling all men of the love of God." One of the interesting things that happened to him was that he entered the Anglican seminary in Lahore. In those days it was in India, and now is in Pakistan. There were a number of difficulties faced by him, but the biggest was that he refused to exchange his robes for traditional clerical clothing. This, along with other things, led to his leaving the college. His reasoning was that what he wore would enable him to be more easily identified as who he was in his culture, and he would not appear to be rejecting it before he gained a hearing. For us, as we travel through this period of COVID-19, it is the type of question we need to prayerfully answer. What are the changes in our culture which have happened in the past years and months, and how do we work with them? This afternoon I had a conversation with two church leaders, one Anglican and the other from a different denomination. Both of them made me think and brought the example of Sundar Singh into my mind. The first was with someone who had temporarily worked in part of the world where Christianity has a long history, but for several hundred years has been on the margins. What he observed there was that the Christians have found their voice and are able to speak into their culture respectfully and are listened to. The second conversation was more closely linked with our situation. My friend said that before COVID-19 broke out, he had a very clear sense that God's Holy Spirit was telling him to do a particular thing which was going to be needed soon. It was something they had been planning, but God intervened to move it up. It has been essential to their ministry throughout the pandemic thus far. Two things occur to me. Are we willing to engage with our culture from a place of humility and service? And secondly, we need to be attentive to the Holy Spirit in these times. Thank you once again for being with me today, and I trust that you're doing well. Don't forget that there's a litany tonight at 6 o'clock, and also that we will join together in worship at the weekend. And so, from me now, God bless and stay safe.